afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the iScreemZ podcast with myself, Mr. Lucky Limes, and coming from San Diego, as always, we have Mr. Cool J.
What's up, ice creamers?
Beautiful. Well, we got actually a couple of guests with us today. This is going to be, because we're going to do something a little bit special today. We're going to, be in the spooky season, be in October. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on the Halloween series. Not the entire Halloween series, mind you. The original movie, 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. So the David Gordon Green trilogy. But let's introduce our guests. We have with us today author Donna Collins, an old school friend of mine. Donna, how you doing, mate?
Hi. Hello.
Oh, yeah. There's a little bit of a queen wave there, or king wave, it should be these days.
My loyal subject.
Yes, it's hello.
And coming from, and Donna's in the UK, just so you know, we're all over the map today with Jay in San Diego, me in Canada, Donna in England. But we've also got somebody else from the UK. Singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, and there's a vicious rumor that he's also my brother, but I can neither confirm nor deny that. Mr. Paul Marshall, Esquire. Paulie, how's it going?
Hey, nice to be here. Considering we started talking about doing this, I think, on the night I went to see Halloween Kills at the cinema.
Yes,
so,
we did.
So it's really nice to be here. And Steve's obviously been doing this for quite some time now as well, and hasn't included me in it until now. So that's absolutely wonderful.
Do you know why that is? That's because you suck. I can't even apologize.
I get it. 100%. You've got to really limit.
Now the brotherly parts have been thrown.
So, listen, we're all very different people. We're all from different backgrounds. We all have one very, very important thing in common. No matter what angle we come at it from, we love the Halloween series. We absolutely love Michael Myers. Everyone here will agree on that, regardless of where we fall on different movies. We all share that. Donna, as a matter of fact, I think has a little bit of an unhealthy interest in Michael Myers. But we won't go into that on this family show.
I'm a little bit worried about that, if I'm honest. This isn't an OnlyFans thing, is it, Donna?
Oh my God.
Listen, you're the second person that's brought up, am I doing an OnlyFans in here tonight?
Well, you know what? It's got to be observed, though. That's fucking cool. Your office is so cool, Don. That is really, really... Talk about shrine.
Actually, last you can see the setup at the moment, because I'm facing my bookcases at the moment. Because I thought, usually, I do it the other way around. And so I've got the bookcases behind me. But I thought, well, seeing as we're doing Michael, that's what I look at when I'm writing and killing people.
Fair enough.
I was going to say, Limes, you forgot a very, very special guest that's right behind Donna. How could you?
Oh, Michael Myers himself. Yeah, absolutely. A man of few words. I was going to have him on the show. Today, but I realised none of us would be able to get a word in edgewise with him, right? So
that's true.
So you know what? Let's jump right into it, because obviously this time's going to fly by. It's going to be a fun conversation, but obviously we got to start at the beginning. The original Halloween, you all love it. I love it. So what I really want to do is I want to go around the table, and I'm going to start with Paulie. And what I'd like to know is each of you, I'd like to know sort of what you remember of the first time you saw Halloween, and what were those initial feelings when you saw it for the first time, Paulie?
Well, it's a weird one for me, because I'm actually sort of having... I mean, if you're asking me when I first saw it versus when I first became terrified of it, they're kind of slightly two different things. But without going on about it too much, interesting. I'm having the same situation right now, because I needed to cram in watching Kills and Ends this week just to bring myself back up to speed. And I got the bang on the wall from Oscar's bedroom because it was a bit loud, and in other words, the music's freaking me out a bit. And that was how it started for me, was hearing, like, Steve basically used to watch that film every minute of every day, and it was one of them things. I'd be laying in bed and I got very used to the sound of the breathing and it used to freak the shit out of me, basically. When he also then did the beautiful thing of having a Halloween 4 poster on the wall in the room that I shared with, which was basically just a gigantic picture of Michael Myers' face So when you opened a bedroom door, the light from the landing would catch it, and it used to scare the crap out of me when I was a kid. I'd almost got myself into a place where I was too scared to watch the first one because of all the sort of weird sort of trauma it had already given me. So when I did actually finally get to sit down and watch it with Steve, it was both terrifying, just because I don't know, I just became obsessed with Myers when I was a kid, because it became sort of like the embodiment of everything that I found terrifying out there. And as a kid, you know, like the idea of being in a dark house and just seeing that sort of mask glinting in the darkness used to freak me out. And I used to have this weird thing about faces at the window that never happened, obviously, but I used to have this fear that I would see that face at the window, and so but as an actual movie, it was kind of I realized how much I was spared after seeing the fourth one, which is actually, you know, 10 times more violent than the first one, in terms of the actual physical, what you see versus what's in your mind. And it just became an obsession because I couldn't quite. It's really strange. I'm talking about it more from a personal point of view of a kid who saw something that did something to them, which has led us all these years. Like, I'm 44 now, so that was 34 years ago I saw it, and so I would have known 34 years ago that we would all be having this conversation today. So it did do something to me. On a fear level that was kind of like, it felt like that was the par. It's like, is it scary? Does it scare me more than Halloween or less than Halloween? Because I just felt it was, even at the time, I could tell it was class. It was flawless. And you know what? All those years later, I don't feel any different. You know, yeah, I might notice the wisp of smoke from Carpenter's cigarette or whatever when Myers is standing behind the bush, and you have the odd, like, the shadow on the wall and stuff when Lindsay's on the couch. Yeah, you could consider them flaws. I don't. That's a movie on a low budget that has delivered so much more fear than I think anything on a high budget has ever really done, apart from, like, say, The Exorcist. You know,
absolutely.
But even The Exorcist, I had to grow to watch The Exorcist. I had to grow and be an adult before I fully realized what it's the godfather of horror films, you know, and I mean godfather of class, and, you know, it's untouchable. Whereas Halloween, you know, it was just a bunch of kids making an amazing
yeah.
It holds such a place in my heart, that film. And it's kind of, someone says, what's your favorite movie? Before they've even got to the end of the second syllable of movie, I've already said Halloween. You know, it has to be my favorite film, because there's no film that's affected me as much as that film. And absolutely, it became an unhealthy obsession with Myers for a while. It became a bit like, you know, have to know what's going to happen next, you know.
That's what I want to hear from a personal, because, you know, we can all kind of, like, you know, give the movie review, but it's what it means to you, what it felt to you. So that's a great response you gave there. What about Donna? What about you, Don? Do you remember seeing it for the first time?
No, I don't know how I'm going to beat Paul on this one. Yeah, no, I don't remember the first time I saw it. In fact, I don't remember anything about it when I was younger. I do remember that music.
Yes.
And I remember, I mean, even up to my second husband, he used to have it as his ringtone. So when I called him on his mobile, it would come up with the Halloween music. And that freaked me out, even though most of the time I rang him, I wasn't there. But sometimes, for some reason, he'd be like, oh, I can't find my phone. Can you call me? And the music freaks me out. And there's not a lot that I'm scared of, but I must admit, Michael Myers, he is the boogeyman, because it could happen. And I think he scares me because of his mask. You can't see his face. And you do get nutters breaking into homes and killing people.
This is true.
You know, everything about him to me, and I know, obviously, Steve, me and you, we'll probably get into that argument later, won't we? You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
I know where you're going to go. You go, he's not supernatural. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Yes, he is.
And actually, there was something that I heard, because obviously, like Paul, I've just scanned all them, like watched all the movies again. And in Halloween Ends, Jamie Lee Curtis says something, and I thought, yes, I'm going to bring that one up to Steve.
I can't wait until we get to talk about Halloween Ends. But before we get into that, you actually made a very good point there, Donna, and it was something Paulie picked up on as well at the beginning as well. That was the music, because Paul was saying he heard the music and it used to freak him out. You know,
yeah, it's creepy.
You did. I mean, if you take the music out of Halloween, it's you've got to really acknowledge how much the sound and the music adds to the film, because right, because if you take that out,
I mean, I still think Michael Myers just standing there is as freaky as fuck, right? There's no other way to explain it. Music or no music, he absolutely scares the bejesus out of me. That's why I feel I need to surround myself with him.
Well, see, that's one thing that John Carpenter knew how to do beautifully. He knew that the right music set the tone and really complemented the scene. Not like a lot of movies where the music is overpowering and it's really like, why is this here? You really don't need the music. John Carpenter scored each and every one of his movies, and he knew the magic behind it. It was subtle, but 100%. Again, it complemented it and it enhanced the scene at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Actually, what about you, Jay? Do you remember seeing it for the first time? Do you have any specific memories?
Well, I don't remember which theater I saw it. I was 11 years old when it came out, and I remember not just the beginning, but what kind of freaked me out was the beginning, where you got the sister getting ready. She's getting ready for Halloween, and the totally is matter. But you have this figure walking around from their point of view. The mask comes on, you hear the breathing, and all of a sudden the knife comes up, kind of like Psycho. And then when it's revealed, it's the little brother in like a clown costume with the mask and that just dead look in his eyes.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing that's always annoyed me about that end part of the scene is when the little boy comes out, he's holding the knife, it's got blood all over it, and his mum and dad just stand there looking at him. Don't you think there's not an ounce of shock on their faces? Or
can I just jump in there? Not only do they not look shocked, she actually then puts her hands in her pockets.
It's just kind of rocking like this, like, what do I do?
Well, what are we going to do with you now? I don't know. And it's all a bit like, what? But then she bloody goes like this.
Yeah.
Pockets, and it totally ruins the whole thing, because it's like
she's kind of just rocking, like as if saying, this is awkward. This is awkward. I'd like to.
You don't see more of them after that. That's the only time you ever see them. And it's kind of like Carpenter even probably thought, oh yeah, they're shit parents, get rid of them.
But out of there. If I can, I'd like to share my first time that I saw it. I know Jay loves this story. He pisses himself with this. Paulie's going to appreciate it, if for no other reason than the impersonations of our dad.
I've already had a few impersonations of Dad lined up, especially Michael Miles. Do you remember? I don't want to watch fucking Michael Miles.
Michael Miles? No. Wait for this. What he first thought it was called. If I ever told you this before. So when I saw it, this was back in 1981. This was like the dawn of VHS, and Dad had a partner in their company at the time, a fella named Colin. And Colin was one of these guys that he was very flashy, liked to show off what he had. And at the time, I was obsessed with Alien. Ridley Scott's Alien had just come out in 79, and I really wanted to see that. Really wanted to see it. And Colin had a VHS. This was when it was something to have a VHS player. And I remember bringing up Alien, and he says, oh, you get your dad to bring you over. I'll get it. You can see it. So I was all fucking excited, right? Oh, I'm going to see Alien. Alien! So then we get the call. My dad's on the phone to Colin. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to be going over there on Friday night. So he comes in and he says to me, oh, Steve, So Colin's got Alien for you, and another one. It's called the Pumpkin Man or something like that. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, Pumpkin Man. That sounds fucking lame. Whatever the hell that is. So just give me the Alien. Give me the Alien. So we went over there on the night. I saw Alien. I actually wasn't that impressed with Alien at the time. That's something that, because it's such a hard sci-fi and it's more of an adult movie, it's something I grew into now. I think it's one of the most greatest movies of all time. But then we got to the Pumpkin Man, and the Pumpkin Man was Halloween. And I absolutely, the suspense of that film just sucked me in so fucking deep. And I was shitting myself before I even got to killing anyone. Just the wandering around in the background, of the windows here and there. But the ending is what sticks in my mind the most. And I'm going to tell you for why. I know, I said it. Don't kill me.
I love it.
The ending sticks with me, and the reason is this. And I'm sure Jay will definitely agree with me on this one, because you're a couple of years older than me, right? We come from a generation, and you do obviously as well, Donna, specifically. Paulie's got 10 years, but he still see all these movies after the fact. But we grew up watching Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the black and white Universals, and then the color hammers. And that's why the ending sticks in my mind. We are used to getting to the end of a film, and there's a resolution. The vampire gets staked. The mummy gets burned. The Wolfman gets shot by someone that loves him. And there's that temporary reprieve that it's over. They're going to come back in sequels, but for now, the danger is gone. Well, I get to that scene where she gets out, Loomis shoots him, he goes off the balcony. What's the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, that was. And then they go out. Right. And they look out, and he's gone. And I said to Colin, what now? And he just goes to me, well, that's it, isn't it? I'm like, what? He's like, that's it, he's gone. And I just, in my mind, I went to bed that night, and I was just like, I didn't have that cathartic release. It was that, oh, fuck, he's still out there somewhere. He's going to get me or whatever, some shit like that, right? So yeah. So in a nutshell, that's my Pumpkin Man story. That's where I saw it for the first time. Who's laughing at the Pumpkin Man? Was that Paul? Who was that?
Oh, no. But
that's iconic. Though,
I always say it though. I always like, because Iris and Oscar are both wanting. My children, they're both wanting to watch it. They're 11 and 12 now, so they're older than me. Like at the time when I was watching, they're obviously not older than me, but I'm still like, I know that Iris and Oscar could handle it, but I can't do it because I'm a bit like, again, I'm sitting on this call with you lot because I'm obsessed with Halloween. And I don't really want them to have the same obsession, if that makes sense. I want them to find their own fear. Like, but the
healthy obsession.
Oh yeah, kind of. But I think the difference is, like Steve was saying, you guys grew up, let's say you started out with the black and white Hammer horrors and things like that as well. And for me, it was John Carpenter where it all started, because I was born in 81. So, once I was, so I didn't watch Halloween till 1991. So by that stage, it was really strange to think the film was only, 13 years old.
Right.
But by that stage, I'd already watched like The Fog, and I'd seen other horror films, other good things that had made me realize, oh, I like this stuff. And obviously it was nice because Steve, and I used to do this random thing as well, like when we lived together all those many moons ago, where we'd stay up till like 2 a.m. and eat some snacks and watch a film, and then we'd be sharing the same room, so we'd go to bed and talk about it and play stupid games, and that was kind of like what we used to do. And so so it's probably some of the obsession with it is probably from the circumstances around it as well, because that was like me and my bro time as well, and I used to, as a young kid, I used to look up to Steve massively because he was 10 years older than me. So now I realize I had no reason to, but
And Paul,
Fuck you. Okay. All right, we're picking him off.
Sibling bonding, like watching horror movies together. I mean, what other siblings? I mean, that is quality time right there. It really is.
The family that slays together stays together. That's what I say, right?
I used to have, my kids grew up, with horror movies as well. Pretty much like you, maybe at a younger age than what they should have. But when their older cousins would come in, going to auntie and uncle's house, spending the night, getting pizza, all the snacks and all that crap, we'd watch horror movies, and they absolutely loved it. My youngest is like my little horror maven. She absolutely loves horror movies, and she'll stream them all. She introduces her friends, for God's sake, to horror movies. She's like, yeah, we watched this when I was a kid. It was awesome.
You mentioned that you got into talking about Myers and what scares you about him a little bit when you were talking about your first time seeing the movie. And I think we've really got to, we have to address that. What is it? And I want to ask you all this, but I'm going to ask you first, what do you think is it that makes him such an iconic horror villain? Like, I mean, we've got the Freddy Kruegers and the Jasons and whatever, but Myers just, boom, like he's the only one to me that's they've never played him for laughs. No matter how ludicrous the films get on occasion, they always respect the character and how frightening he is. What do you think makes him so iconic, Don?
For me, I think he doesn't say anything, which I find that more scary. Yeah. And also the fact that you can't see his face. All you see is his eyes, and most of the time it's dark anyway, like the eyes are dark. But you could say the same that like Jason Voorhees, he's got, he don't say anything and he's got a mask on. But I think with Michael it's a face. It's a mask, but it's still a face. Right. Totally. I don't know. I see him as a human being. I don't see him as a monster. I don't see him as he's the boogeyman. He is the boogeyman.
It's a blank, pale, emotionless face, and
you cannot
the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
That's it. The devil's eyes, and you cannot see what he's thinking. You can't predict what he's going to do. There's nothing. You just can't second guess him, and that scares the bejesus out of me.
And to add to that, you have the fear that he is probably third, fourth, and fifth guessed everything you're going to do.
Yeah. He's probably like 10 steps ahead.
Very methodical in I guess understanding his victims, being that apex predator, really. And that's one thing. Again, Limes, you and I have talked about this many times. Halloween set the precedent for what modern horror, besides George A. Romero's, Night of the Living Dead, of course, and others. But this set the stage and was the first of the slasher type movies.
Yeah.
What set it apart, and this is what followed with Friday the 13th. They kind of took a cue from that. They're like, hey, this is pretty cool. What can we do? It was a human being.
Yeah.
Not a monster, not anything supernatural, but a human being that obviously lacked a soul, conscious, anything. It literally was a void within a shell, and that's what made it frightening, because it's the darkness within the human condition, but elevated like a millionfold. Where, like you said, Donna, this mask, which actually the mask was a very horrible, discontinued mask. And what was supposed to be William Shatner.
That's it. Yeah.
You figured Jason go, all right, I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to commit massive carnage because I have no soul.
Risk is our business. Yeah, fuck yeah. Actually, you open.
Paul, what's going on? You're getting seasick there.
I was being Captain Kirk, when the camera.
Actually, I was actually going to say Paul's actually broadcasting from the International Space Station, so I kind of was on the right track there. But you know what? Jay, you actually opened the doorway there, and this is gonna definitely we're all gonna agree on. Well, no, we're actually not. We're gonna disagree on this completely. You just spoke about him being a man and everything. So
I'm not.
you know where I'm going with this. Yeah, here she goes. Oh, she's all excited now, right? Is he just a man, or is there something else at work there? And I'm just throwing that right out,
Well,
throwing
no,
that
no.
out to everyone.
Again, when I said a man, a human being, it wasn't the the classical monsters, not the
No.
classical monsters like again that we grew up. This brought it to a whole new level. And again, Donald Pleasant's character, Dr. Loomis, he said it, and this is what the embodiment was. He was the embodiment of pure evil. So whatever snapped in Michael Myers as a kid, that festered. And in the later renditions, which we're going to be talking about, every kill just fueled that darkness, that evil. There was no rhyme or reason. And again, that's what was so frightening about it as well. There was no rhyme or reason. It was just being a predator and killing for the sake of killing. And that was it. Just like at the end, that frightened you when you saw it. He got shot, fell off the balcony. Where is he?
So is
there? It was a continuance of that evil, that drive to just kill.
Right, but where is that evil coming from? Is there something? Is there? Listen, we know the guy he's flesh and blood. We get that, but the punishment he takes, no regular person. And again, you said this set the gold standard for slashes, and it did. It was the first one. I mean, people try to say, "Well, Psycho, Black Christmas." No. I love both of those films, but they're not slashes in the true sense of the. This was the first. But what is driving him? Is there some other kind of force? Loomis keeps telling us there is all through the film.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, again, this was tossed around, and he never explained it more than this. Just the embodiment evil. So could it be something demonic? Again, that maybe took a hold of him as a kid when he killed his sister initially, and then got sent away, obviously, to the asylum. But was it? What is it? Something demonic? Was it possession? It never has been fully explained. But all we know is that it's pure evil. Now, does that evil take his form and make him quasi immortal? Again, we don't know. We just see in every sequel that he comes back. He comes back no matter what is thrown his way, shot, stabbed, whatever. That evil just doesn't die and resurrects him to, again, commit more carnage for the sake of the kill.
Go on, Donna. Come on. Floor is yours.
Before you go in, Donna, because I get the feeling, because you two are rivals on this, I get the feeling you're going to obviously make the case for him being a man. But before you do, do you know, it's taken me a long time. That kid who watched that first film, to me, that mask, like you said, Donna, it is Michael Myers' face.
Yeah.
Which makes the unmasking a jarring scene. But I've grown to love that now. I used to not like that. I used to think, why is that there? I wish I never knew what was under the mask. But for me, it's that scene that shows you, hey, look, it is just a man.
Yeah.
But when he's got the mask on, he's not just a man.
No.
And,
in fact, I find him more scarier with the mask on than off.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Because he's unmasked, isn't he? And he, like you say, he's just a man.
The kid, basically. But the first thing is that it took me a long time to get past the way that I had always felt about it since I was a child. And so for me, that first scene when he picks up the phone and it's the first time you get the clear look at the face, that scene still freaks me out because I know it's a mask, right? I know it's an actor wearing a mask. I'm not stupid. But to me, that was, you're seeing the face of this thing or this person or whatever. And after hearing, like you both, well, you've all said about the way Loomis talks about him and everything, and he does specifically say the phrase, "This isn't a man." You know, he does, and you know,
I would see. I would argue that to me he is just a man, and there's enough people in society today. You got the Fred Wests, the Shipmans. You know, they're all evil. I mean, they are all evil.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that they were possessed or demonic.
No, but they.
So I like to
Jeffrey Dahmer, all those. Yeah,
all of them. So that's kind of where I put Michael. I put Michael in that. Only he is a hell of a lot more cunning, a hell of a lot more clever. He takes his time, which you actually see in Halloween Ends. You know, you've got Michael killing, and then you've got the boy killing, and the boy's all erratic and all over the place and out of control. Michael is just like, he's so calm, collected, methodical, controlled. Yeah. One stab, that's it, you know. So to me, he's just someone who is very good at what he does.
Well, and Donna, you brought another good point about the mask too. What was frightening, and again, that, you know, I guess hammered home that he was evil and vacant is, again, with the mask. You don't see his eyes. You barely see his eyes. It's just dark orbs, because the mask with the light is shadowing his eyes. So it's vacant, completely vacant.
Yeah, you cannot see any emotion at all. Yeah. Not in his body language, nothing. He literally, in a majority of the time, unless he's lifting somebody up or strangling someone or, you know, stabbing someone, his arms are by his side. Most of the time, he just walks with his arms by his side.
I think what you're describing, though, a perfect serial killer. And I think if maybe we hadn't had the crazy, like, of course, I'm reading a book right now, like, called The Serial Killer Next Door, believe it or not, which is literally about how people blend into society around you, and they have double personality.
The psychopaths and the sociopaths know how to do that.
Yes, they do.
They know how to blend to get by. Yeah,
totally. But I don't believe that, you know, 6-year-old kid
would know how to do that.
And then, and also the fact that they call him the Shape, for me, is the thing that basically says, if he was just a man, he would just be Michael Myers. Why does he need to be the Shape?
Yeah. Well, that's what John Carpenter wanted to call him initially, was the Shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Steve also told me once that John Carpenter had done an interview and said that Michael Myers was supposed to be supernatural. To which I replied, well, John Carpenter doesn't know what he's talking about.
Michael Myers. Did you say John Lennon?
Wrote and filmed and edited the movie. What does John Carpenter know? Screw him.
Exactly. Fuck that guy. Fuck him on the horse he rode in on.
Carpenter himself, you know, I'm of the opinion that it is the body of the person that is called Michael Myers is the vehicle for the embodiment of pure evil. That's the route I take. And actually, and we'll come to this, obviously, because we're going to talk about Halloween Ends later.
Yes, absolutely.
But for me, that is the proof, for my sake, is actually in the conflict that happens between this vehicle that is getting old versus the evil that is in him that can be passed on, hence what happens to Corey. So therefore, it will go into that later. But it's kind of an interesting. It's funny that we're talking about this, about the first one, and what we might have felt maybe having watched the first one. Was it just a man? Not the sort of the evidence sort of suggests that he isn't, but maybe he's just that mental. That, you know, like the way they describe it in American Werewolf in London. You know, they say a madman, strength of 10. And you know, and maybe he was. But it's kind of, for me, what I was trying to say before about the mask, the face of Michael Myers is that mask. Even when you're watching it, when he's unmasked, that's not Michael Myers. Like the first one, that kid, that's not Michael. But actually, that actually is Michael Myers. But what are we seeing with the mask on?
No, I
You know,
totally agree. Yeah,
it's
totally agree
No,
with that.
that's a good point,
Yeah.
Paul. But and what we were talking about in the beginning, when that scene, that opening
yeah,
scene, is what stuck out because when he does take off the mask and you see him, and that's the only time you ever see him, is that again the eyes totally dead, just
Mm.
void, and the kid is like that, and that set again that was just eerie. It was chilling because it was such a young kid to commit such a heinous act, and then
yeah.
when the mask comes off, he's just dead, just
Mm.
dead.
Okay, here's another thing though. Here's another aspect. Because yes, we've argued this a gazillion times, and I 100% think that there's something else at work there, that there's some sort of force within him. And part of the reason I like the idea that there's something more to Myers, and quite part of the reason because not only does it service the creature, the character, the villain, the antagonist per se, but I find it elevates Loomis as well. And this is what I mean. It elevates Loomis because from the beginning of his arc in the film, where you see him in the car with the nurse, just try to understand what we're dealing with here. Don't underestimate it. Do you think we could refer to it as him? If you say so. All the way through the film, and then when he escapes, Loomis is running to everybody. He's like Chicken Little telling the sky's falling. This fucking guy, like, he's not what you think he is. You're underestimating him. He's something else. I've watched him. I've seen him. I've studied him. I know what the fuck's going on. Nobody wants to listen to me. And then when you get to the end, right at the end, and we talked about this, Donna and I talked about this, and I know you guys, I might be repeating something you already know, but John Carpenter shot that scene two ways.
Yep.
Two ways. The final scene with Myers at the thing. And he's like, I want you to go over there, and I want you to look out the window, and I want you to be, oh my God, right? And Donald Pleasance, being the pro that he is or was, said, look, I'll do that, but then I want to do it as if I come over there.
I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, I knew this. I knew it was going to be. And obviously Carpenter ended up keeping, even Carpenter, he's Donald Pleasant's take was the right one. And that's what he keeps in there. And that's what I like about that final sting. It basically says, oh, fuck, Loomis was right all along. And we didn't listen to him. And look, the guy's gone. He's fucking gone. So that's just my little, take it or leave it. But I think it elevates the character of Loomis. And that's my
Loomis also says that he is a boogeyman.
Pardon me?
Loomis also said that he was the boogeyman.
Right.
And that continues for the whole series too. Even till the end, they keep referring the boogeyman.
But the boogeyman wasn't supposedly an actual, just a man, was it?
Yeah.
No, boogeyman was a supernatural being.
It was a supernatural force.
No, the boogeyman's not supernatural, is he?
Yes, it was. It was from the steps of. It was from Irish, from Celtic lore, I believe, came up with the boogeyman. Yeah.
So more of a spirit, a demonic spirit than anything.
But John Wick is also the boogeyman.
John Wick's also Keanu Reeves.
Bravo, Donna. Bravo.
I'm sorry. I can't live in a universe where you're trying to make Keanu Reeves one of the loveliest blokes on the planet.
Wait, hold on. Lines. Michael Myers, are you back? Yeah, I guess I'm back.
Dude, I'm like so rad bad.
I'm like so bad, dude.
Bearing in mind that Michael Myers makes a point of killing dogs as well, so I don't think him and John Wick could get on very well.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Valid point. So you know what? Listen, we could go round and around and around on this forever, and there's so much to discuss. But I want to move on to 2018 if possible. And again, it's hard to say this because we're jumping over so many movies. Yeah. But when Blumhouse announced 2018, the first thing we were told, this is the sequel directly to Halloween. It's ignoring everything.
Yeah.
After. Now, before we start getting into those movies, one of the big things, the only things that troubles me, and I want to know where you guys fall on this, by erasing the second movie, they erased the twist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I'm cool with it now because I like those films. it does create a little bit of a problem for me though, and this is, I nearly said I'm going to tell you for why.
No, go on, say it. I like it.
I'm gonna tell you for why. It troubles me because when I was a kid and I was in the playground when Halloween 2 came out, that was the horror equivalent of Luke, I'm your father. Us kids were like, oh my God.
Or the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, but then we were like, this movie's come out. Do you know, Myers is actually, they're related. It's like, so it was such a big shock twist. I have a hard time letting go of it. How do you guys feel? Were you guys upset? Were you happy? Are you indifferent?
I agree, because as a little boy, he started off killing his sister. I'm not quite sure where Laurie was born in that timeline. It must have been years after, when the mum finally took her hands out of her pockets and took the coat off, and
Adopted,
but yeah,
yeah, she's adopted, yeah, by the Strokes.
Oh yes, she was adopted. You're right. Yes, sorry.
Geek alert.
Welcome to nerd school.
I like the way that he would then go after another sibling.
Yeah,
it kind of gave him a reason. I know he went back to the house, to his home, but yeah, I mean, Harry knew he had a sibling, I don't know, but he then would go after the next sibling, and I liked that.
I think what you've said there, Donna, is right, 100%. And but in a strange way, I think it can kind of skew the argument what we were just having a couple of ways, because to go back and want to take vengeance on your own family is the behavior of a human serial killer, and it's a pattern, that we see regularly. With not forgetting the collateral damage along the way, but it was kind of like, she was his ultimate plaything, like to toy with until he got his satisfaction out of it.
That could be taken so many ways.
Yeah, totally. I think it could. It's kind of Steve, in answer to your question, I am kind of on the fence. I don't have a problem with him being her brother. Sorry, I think, because that's the story I've known for all the years I've basically been alive. If you want to take it away and show me what it does what the story does when he's not her brother, in my humble opinion, not a lot else has changed, because he still wants Laurie, because she's still the one that he couldn't get in the first one.
Yeah, two opposing forces.
Yeah, but in the last 3, he doesn't want Laurie.
Yeah, that's right. It's Dr. Sartain that, like, he actually isn't coming for Laurie, like, because you get that in 2018 when he sees her for the first time, and then it's like when they're at the house, and then he almost looks at her like, oh, fuck, I know who you are. You're someone I tried to kill years ago. Like, he actually isn't going for her. She's obsessed. That's the crazy thing. She's obsessed about him for all these years, and he hasn't probably given another fucking thought to her. He's just been thinking about his bigger plan, whatever the hell that looks like in his mind, right?
Yeah.
Which I think would have made more sense if we'd had. We're obviously going to go into how amazing the opening of Halloween Kills is in a bit. Before we do, in a weird way, if we'd had that opening at the start of the first one of 2018, I feel like it might have made a bit more sense, because at this point we don't know what happened to Michael that night. All we know is that he's in custody again, and now he's breaking out. But when you actually see the footage of him, how he got arrested and all that, it kind of makes it make a bit more sense why he's being a bit more crazy. Just Haddonfield is his playground. That's it. It's Haddonfield. That,
Before we go to that place, I'm glad you brought it up, Paul, because we do have to talk about it just briefly before we talk about it in more depth. But one of the things, I got to be honest, I don't know how you guys feel, and I'm going to hear, but when I first saw 2018, I was not impressed. I was, I was not a fan. That changed when I saw Halloween Kills. And the biggest problem was, to me, he was not behaving like Myers the way I see. Like, he was going randomly into houses and stabbing people and stuff. And I remember sitting in the theater thinking, this is not, they don't understand Myers. They don't get it. That's not what you. But then when you got to that scene in Halloween Kills where they go flash, because, okay, let me just order my thoughts here for a second. Having watched them in close succession again, like you guys, that I'm actually seeing how beautiful the through line is for these films. Like, they actually set up shit that plays out in Halloween 2 in 2018. Even characters that are not, they're basically barely characters in the first one, but they're there, and then they fleshed out in Halloween Kills. But that's my point. When I got to that in Halloween Kills, that beginning scene, which goes back to 1978, when we see our Lieutenant Hawkins got him, was one of the ones that was on scene. He's behaving more like Myers than just about any other film since the original. And so I'm like, shit, they do understand Myers. And that got me to thinking that, well, you know what, in 2018, he knows his time is short. He's in his 60s now. He's just a cranky fucker, and he just wants to just like make the world never forget that he existed. So yes, so I didn't like it at first. I came to like it. What were your initial thoughts on 2018 when you saw it, Doc?
Well, I liked it. I mean, we've had this chat, haven't we? And to me, it was just a great Halloween movie. I really liked it. I didn't like Laurie's hair, I must admit. But I liked the fact that, you know, he went after them for the mask, like the two
podcasters,
blog people, and I liked that. Sorry,
I said they were dicks anyway, you know.
Oh, like, I know they were, yeah. You're almost cheering. And the one thing that actually that probably has bothered me through all of the movies, even the ones that ain't included in this little 4 that we're talking about, no matter how many people he kills, them ovals do not have any blood on them. None whatsoever, absolutely none.
No, yeah, when Loomis comes out to find where Myers fell from the balcony in Halloween 2, there's a neatly like snow angel print in the lawn of blood, isn't there?
In the grass. Yeah.
The cartoons, like when Wile E. Coyote runs through the wall and there's just a the mark like that.
I thought that the first, like the Halloween 2018, I thought was a really good setup, and I was so excited about watching the trilogy of them. And the second one, which obviously we'll talk about in a minute, there was bits about that I didn't like. And then by the time we got to the M1, I was like, okay, I would have gone in a completely different direction for these movies. So it kind of got worse for me through them, and I'll tell you the reasons why when we get there. But yeah, 2018, I liked it. I thought it was a typical slasher movie. I liked it. I liked the way that they tracked him at the end. I liked the cop that was in it as well, sort of like Laurie's love interest that weren't quite a love interest. You know, it was, to me, it had all been set up perfectly for the next 2 movies. And so I was by the time we got to Halloween Kills, I was like, oh. And then when I heard that Halloween Ends was going to be like X amount of years later, I thought, oh God, you know, I would have liked, I know we have different thoughts on this, but for me, I would have liked, I like quick concession. I like things happening in a few days, which was the first 2. You know, I think Halloween Kills was pretty much all in one.
It's set on the same. Yes, it's all the same night.
And I like that.
I think it picks up without a beat, without missing a beat.
It really does. And I mean, I hated it. I'm just going to put it out there. I hated it when I saw it.
The Halloween 2018.
2018. I felt cheated by it. I was.
In what way?
At the time, I've grown to love it now.
Okay.
Love might be strong. I very much like that film now.
Yeah,
it's my least favorite of the trilogy.
Yeah,
but I was taken in that trailer. I can't tell you how many times I watched the trailer for 2018. I was the image of that chessboard of the
where he's
cemetery.
standing with the cinder
Oh,
block and
where
he's
they're
chained
standing
to
in the
it. Yeah.
corners. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and,
Yeah.
and you got the shot at the back of his head, and he's chained to that
Mhm.
block.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this for so fucking long, you know?
Yeah.
And I was the same as me, bro. You know, as you know, I think the scene when he opens that car boot, pulls that mask on for the first time, shuts that boot, is one of the most beautiful things
Yeah.
in the whole series. It's just
Yeah.
gorgeous. But then, oh, the senseless fucking killings. I was exactly like my brother. I was just like, he doesn't do this. This isn't what he does. He plans things. He calculates things. Oh, what the fuck? And then you know, and then you get stuck in the whole world of, right, we've got to, you know, it's 2018. We've got to make sure we talk about, you know, people choosing their pronouns. So we'll make sure we've got Bonnie and Clyde being the opposite way around. And then, you know, I'm not, again, I don't have any strong opinions on that in society. But what I'm trying to say is I saw it doing the whole, got to check that box, got to check that box.
I see what you're saying.
Paul,
I see what you're saying.
We found out what Michael Myers' pronouns were.
Exactly.
No, what the fuck?
Yeah. But I was just, I don't know, and after so many killings, and then when that bloody doctor was standing there with Michael's mask on.
Okay, yeah.
What are you doing? And I left the cinema just like, oh, piss right off. But it took sequels to make me go back and go, now I've seen the rest, I can accept the version now, because it's just, and at the time I accepted, I am just not going to get the Myers I always.
I didn't like the fact either that I can't think what the girl's name is. What's Laurie's granddaughter's name in it?
Alison.
Alison, right? So at the end where the car pulls up, and I must admit, there was a few characters and a bit of dialogue that was really grating on me, like the way the coppers were talking to each other in the car about the
food or whatever.
Made. Yeah,
that was useless.
They're talking like teenagers, but when Alison gets out of the car and Michael Myers is like killing the doctor, bearing in mind the coppers were parked outside Laurie's house, or the gateway to her house, as far as I know, and so like literally 100 yards down the road is where the doctor had stopped the car, and that's where Michael kills him. So why Alison didn't shoot down to the police car, like literally on foot as fast as you could down the lane to the police car, but instead she runs into the forest, and not even the forest on the side of where Laurie lives. She runs into the forest on the opposite side of the road, and then decides to freak out at like 4 dummies that are in the forest, where they do the close-ups, and it's like, you know, when they try and do it when all the dead, like the skeletons and stuff fall on people, but then when it pans out, you're like, how did you manage to run into that? There's all this space all around you, but you want a home right for them sort of 4 or 5. Yeah, so there was a few bits that I just thought, okay, that's stupid, that don't need to be in there, and that's really stupid, and that's stupid, but overall I kind of overlook a few. I must admit, with the Halloween films and certain horror films, I do overlook a few things.
Oh, you got to, man. You
can't take it all too seriously.
Got to overlook. But I don't know what bloody school of podcasting that guy went to, who thought, I know, the way I could get Michael to speak is if I just shout, say something at him. Maybe he'll listen to me. He hasn't listened to all these doctors and everyone who's been trying to get something out.
Oh, yeah, you expect Michael Myers to go, oh, wait, hold on. You want me to say something? Well, shit, I got so much to say out of all these years.
I love it.
What have I been doing?
I love it. I like to think there's a version out there where he just goes, like, fuck off. Just like really gently, like, say something. Fuck off.
Well, you know, Paulie bringing that up about the podcast, I actually had a similar but different thought. My problem was, first of all, what psychiatric facility is going to let some random fucking podcasters
Thank you.
come in anyway. Like, so first of all, my
Yeah.
suspension of disbelief was gone right there.
Yeah.
But then when he's grabbing the mask, say something, say something,
Yes.
say something. I'm like thinking, all right, I'd like to be at the meeting where the psychiatrists all get around and say, well, we can't get him to talk this way. What about this? Why don't we just randomly scream at him? I like that. That's a good idea. Do it. Like,
What do you think of that? Holy shit. See these degrees on the wall? Out of all these degrees, why didn't we think of that? Damn.
Sorry, guys. Just one moment. I've got a child-shaped problem. I just need to just jump off for 1 second.
No problem. Donna,
This
what
happens.
say, Nancy?
This
So
happened.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I just want to play devil's advocate on that one bit, right? So the doctor, which obviously we now know that he was absolutely besotted and he wanted to know what it felt like to be Michael Myers, which we didn't know at the beginning of that movie. But he, to me, as he let him in, let the podcasters in, just to see if they could get a response or something out of Michael Myers by holding up that mask.
And that does make that makes more sense when you watch it again after the fact.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jay, what did you want to say there, mate?
I was going to say that's what really, really bothered me. And, you know, the podcasters come in and they're asking Michael, they're doing all that thing. And Michael's like, is this thing on? But I mean, again, no. Again, he's chained up. What is Michael Myers going to do? He's in his little world. It's like he's content because there he is. Nothing else. He's just, again, in his own little universe. And then here comes these podcasters. Hey, we're doing a podcast about the serial killer, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hey, Michael, I think you might want to see this. The stupidest fucking thing that could be done, because like we were talking earlier, Michael Myers isn't Michael Myers until the mask. And they bring the fucking mask and they think, oh, well, this ain't going to do anything. We'll get him taught. It's poking the proverbial bear.
How did they get the mask?
Well, he says he had a friend in the DOJ, in the Department of Justice, and that actually, look, it's a stretch, right?
Yeah,
I admit it's a stretch.
But even Stretch Armstrong couldn't stretch.
Could not go to that place. But it does kind of, at least in terms of, if you're going to tell a lie, put a bit of truth into it, it makes a degree of sense, as in the mask would be considered evidence and that shit would be staying with the Department of Justice. So, you'd think. Assuming that he does have a friend in the Department of Justice, blah, 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 like that's the excuse for why he had the mask. But I want to talk, while we're talking about the mask, and then we kind of, I don't want us to gloss over what we started talking about there, and that was the plot twist with the new Loomis, or as they call him online, Noomis, Dr. Sartain. Now, I'm actually going to go first.
I like to call him Del Boy, because to me, he just looked like Del Boy from
I think he looks more like David Suchet, like Poirot or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go first here because I was pissed off something fierce when I saw it in the theater. I actually almost walked out. I thought it was ridiculous at the time. I have now rethought that because, again, like Paul said, watching the other movies sometimes, like the story is so flawless through 2018 Kills and it ends that you see that they knew exactly what they were doing. And watching it again, seeing Sartain, taking more notice of what Sartain's seeing, I understand the whole thing of him, what you were saying, Donna, that he wanted to know what made Myers tick. And he says a very interesting thing in the car when he's with Hawkins. They're driving and he says, Hawkins is just obsessed with, he wants to kill him, get him off the street dead, right? And Sartain says something like, don't forget, he's still owned by the state. So we can't hurt
under
him.
my care, my professional
under my care. And Hawkins is like, well, we'll see about that. But when he starts talking about, when Sartain starts talking about these things about what Michael Myers is, and he says, maybe there's something imprinted on him like a silent marching order that only he can hear. And I like that because I'm like, yeah, fuck, like he kind of, it's almost like, yes, like he's got these directives that make sense to him, but on this other psychotic whatever spectrum.
I'm like you, as we've said, I get it more now. I think a lot of how we feel about a scene like that is rooted in what we want out of a new Halloween film. This film taught me to realize that you, like, on repeat watches, because like I say, the first time I watched it, I was like, Steve, I just was like, I think I text Steve like whilst having a pee in the toilet at the cinema after going, I've just watched Halloween, fuck. And he was like, don't even talk to me about it or whatever.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Because we were both pissed. And what I saw was a massive wasted opportunity. And but now looking back, this is actually, I think, possibly the clearest view we will ever get on a Halloween sequel franchise, at least.
Yes, you start to realize the gulf between what you think you want and what you get. What you want, what you get, and once you kind of release that, well, I wanted it to be, I thought, and you look at the story through those three movies, the way that they're telling it, it's actually quite fucking genius. And they subvert your expectations at every turn. When they brought in Sartain, they know the audience are thinking, oh, this is the new Loomis. Oh, he's gonna, you automatically in your head, this is the guy that's gonna help get him. Well, no, you're not expecting that he's a fucking nut himself, right? And right. So they do that in the other movies as well. It was one of those, again, those first instances of subverting. You thought it was going to be this, but it's actually that over there. So, what about you, Jay? Where do you sit on it?
Well, again, he's following in the steps of Loomis, very highly educated, but again, as you would say, Donna, a nutter, trying to, trying to get within the head of Michael Myers, and doing stuff where you see these degrees on the wall. I'm a smart man. I got degrees, and he does stuff. You're like, oh my god, really?
No, what you've said is right, buddy. And I think we're all on a similar page. I mean, obviously Donna is the only one who saw it and just thought, yeah, I really like that.
Loved it from the get-go.
Oh no, I didn't really like it. I mean, I think that what Steve said about the fact that all of his doctors become obsessed with him, but I think from a doctor's point of view, their job is to unravel the mind of the nutter, and the majority of the time they probably can do it to a point where they understand why they're doing what they're doing, blah 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 blah. But with Michael Myers they can't, and I think that's where that obsession with them comes in, because finally they've got something in front of them that they can't figure out. And I think but yeah, I mean, I did like it, but there was a lot in it that I thought, okay, this isn't as good as what I was so excited when it was going to be, like, the films were going to be released, and I walked out of there and I had enjoyed it. However, it wasn't as good as what I had hoped it would be.
But getting to the end of 2018, Myers falls into Laurie's death trap of hell, the bat cave under her thing. He's seemingly burned up, and then we go into Halloween Kills. And what a seamless freaking jump from through those two movies. One of the things right off the bat, before we start talking about the flashbacks, one of the things I enjoyed was something that pissed me off in 2018 was Allison's boyfriend, the disco, and she's trying to reach her grandma, and he takes the phone and he drops it in the punch, and then he pisses off. Yeah. And I remember watching it thinking, my God, this character was only in it to drop the phone in the punch so that Allison could. But no, we get right into Kills, and he's integral right from the get-go. We see him coming home. He's the one that finds Hawkins. gets Hawkins the medical care. And so what we're getting right off the bat is, again, some of these characters that we just saw on the peripheral in the first movie, even down to the little guy, the babysitting kid, his parents who are dressed as a doctor and a nurse. I'm watching it the other night. You see them coming out of the house and getting in their car, and like, oh, she's like, oh, does my costume look good? Blah 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 blah. That's literally all they do in 2018. But then they're fleshed out in the next one, and
same with the guy, the other guy who got out of the bus.
Yes, the other
chained up next to Myers, right?
He had the umbrella at the beginning or whatever. Yeah. Yes, so it starts, to me, it's a seamless transition, and then we get into that where the kid goes up to Hawkins and he's like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna be he needs to die, and I'm gonna be the one that does it. And then you get back to that wonderful flashback to 78. Who wants to talk about this first? Who wants to go?
I'm gonna.
Well, I'm just gonna. I loved it.
Oh, it's fucking brilliant. It's for me, that little sequence was everything that every Halloween fan had ever wanted in that fight. Just the characters, the cops, the clothes they're wearing, the way they're talking, the way Myers is walking, like, and just avoiding them and just going down alleyways, and they're all shitting themselves, not knowing what they're dealing with. And then you get to see a payoff of him being arrested.
Well, and just sorry, Paulie, but also the geography of the Myers house is exactly in the original movie. Then I'm watching it the other night, and God knows how I missed this before, but I watched it the other night, and you see the station wagon a little way down, like the exact same station wagon.
Really?
The Myers is like, they absolutely fucking seamlessly make that feel like it almost like it could have been shot and cut out of the original Halloween. And what I love about the arrest that Paul was saying, when you see Myers going down the stairs and he goes outside and you hear Loomis, Michael, right there. And then when he is out there and he's just standing there, you get that sense that he's almost like, you know what? I could fucking go through all of you. The only reason you are capturing me is because I am allowing it. I am allowing this to happen. I'm here because this fits my agenda. It's creepy as fuck.
You do realize that brings us right back to the very start of the whole conversation, because that is the unmasking of Michael in the first one. And it's the same Taxi Driver style, Hitchcock style thing.
The
cops are all pointing their guns like that, and the camera's moving, but they're all staying where they are as the camera pans round Myers, and it's just this moment. Like, you're right, bro.
Such a callback. Such a callback. And you even get one of the cops, if you look, one of the cops puts his hands in his pocket and starts like doing this.
What am I supposed to do here? Move along. But both of you bring up a valid point. It does go way back to the beginning. It a full circle, because when Michael Myers is standing there, just like he was when he was a kid after he killed his sister. Just standing there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the best things for a horror nerd to see, and it's like what Steve said about they do understand him, because everything about that showed me, fuck me, this franchise's heart is actually in the right place, and maybe maybe it's me that's the problem, and maybe I need to kind of go, right, hang on. Granted, it is then followed up by him like smashing the shit out of a load of firefighters and stuff, which at first I'm like,
but that's back to grumpy old Myers. That's back to,
I like it now.
Right?
Like, it's good. Yeah.
See, I liked that,
but
I did like it. Sorry, I've just can I just say one thing? I like the fact that they put Loomis into them flashbacks as well.
Yes,
but then to find out it wasn't Loomis, it was. Yeah, it was a crew member that just happened to look like Loomis, and he did it.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
no, yeah.
I always thought it was CGI.
No.
No, I thought it was CGI,
No.
and then I can't remember where I heard it or read it, or maybe
Yeah,
Steve
you're right.
told me. I don't know. Yeah, it was
That's
a crew
so
member
amazing.
that looked like him, and so
He
they
just,
said,
yeah,
"Go on then."
just happened to look like him, and they stuck the
Mhm.
coat on him and everything. Said, like, do it. Yeah, and he fucking did. Like, he killed
No, it's
it.
amazing.
And again, they
Absolutely amazing.
integrated the movie from the first one with that new footage and incorporated it to be a part of the scenes from the first movie that we weren't privy to, that we didn't see, that brought it together.
Yeah. No, I
It's
did.
So-
I loved it. And the thing is, I did like I liked the fireman bit where he comes out and kills them all. However, my one gripe is, how the hell did he get out of the room? Because the stairs obviously had burnt. I mean, I can even get past the fact that he hid in the tin cupboard to stop getting burnt and dying, right? I'll give you that, right?
Didn't think about that one, did
How
you?
the hell did he manage to get out of the basement?
There was
Well,
a
I can
there
see-
was a
I can
there
see
was
the
one of
story.
those there was one of those granny elevator things that you chair that you sit on when you're and it goes up the staircase like like team
Yeah,
up.
there
That's
was
why.
no
No, I can
staircase,
see
it
Laurie
burned.
Strode going, "Fuck! Why did I put that cupboard in there? Perfect hiding place. Why did I do that?"
Well,
Yeah,
there was also
exactly.
like-
The one
Yeah,
room,
but, oh my God, I gave
the
him-
one
I gave
room
him
where I
the
didn't
opportunity.
need a fireproof room.
Well, can I just also, I mean, I don't, over in England here, we don't have much to do with guns, etc. But in that basement, there was a lot of guns and a lot of bullets. And wouldn't something have happened when all that got burnt?
Yeah,
And hot.
really, pew, 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 pew. Yeah, basically.
Would've
Yeah.
That would have been the best mayor's death ever if he just.
I was gonna, yeah. Can you imagine if that's what killed him?
A rogue bullet
bullet.
through the eye like that from the fire.
how,
you know?
how
A
about
film by
standing-
David Gordon Green.
Well, how about if he's standing there and all the bullets that are going off because the guns have got hot, etc., kill all the firemen?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Oh, my.
Michael Myers, Paul, you're right. That would have been the perfect end scene, man. All the exploding bullets, and it'd be like one of those movies, like Tropic Thunder, that made fun of Platoon. You got the Michael Myers going.
Yeah. A
But
really
there is
slow, brooding
Yeah.
version of the
Yeah.
theme playing in the background with the strings.
But there is another seamlessness in there, and that is when getting back to the firefighters, just before when Laurie and Allison and her daughter, they're all going off on the back of the truck, and they see the fire engines coming, and Laurie's screaming, "No! Like, to me, I'm just like, oh my God, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because it's like, boom, we're going to burn him to death. Oh no, we're not, because the firemen are going to save him. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but also as well, I think when the way he took all the firemen out, to me was like, holy shit, this guy is fucking strong. And it was the one that did it for me was when they've got the hose on him, and they've got that.
And he's just
fire hose.
walking into it, yeah.
And he's walking into it, and you're like,
that would knock you
I
off
like
your
when he took
feet.
the fireman's pickaxe and just skewered him and lifted him up
yeah,
with ease. It was just like,
it was
there
almost.
you go.
You could tell Michael was pissed off.
Oh, he was fucked off at that point. You know, there's no doubt. I mean, there's nothing that says to me that he was about to leave a 5-star review for Laurie's Airbnb. Put it that way. You know?
Yeah.
It was Laurie's Airbnb. He goes, "I had a lovely time, and the fire was just crackling."
Lovely and warm.
But yeah, you go into, that next part of that movie. I'm sort of accidentally taking Steve's job off his hands here.
No, go for it. Go for
Where I
it.
was going to say, you then get your straight put in front of Tommy Doyle, Lonnie Elam, and Lindsay again, and
which I loved. I absolutely loved having them free back. However,
and Marion Crane and Nurse Crane is there as well.
That's it. But if he hadn't have killed Tommy Doyle, I would have done it myself. He was annoying the absolute fuck out of me. And this is what I didn't like about that movie. I don't like it when they start getting the mob, the vengeful mob. That to me, it was when I started to lose it, because for me, Halloween is about Laurie Strode and Michael Myers doing the battle. That is what it is to me. And the fact that she was in a hospital bed going, get him, Tommy, get him, Tommy. And I was just, and Tommy's like, he dies tonight. He dies tonight. And I'm like, I wish you'd fucking die. Like, it was just on my nerves. And I really felt sorry for the little bloke with the umbrella who died out the window. I thought, oh, that poor little fella.
Oh, no.
Oh, totally. No, that's a perfect point, because it was like the mob from either Frankenstein or Hunchback with Notre Dame, and you got this poor lunatic going, "Hey, I ring the bells of Notre Dame, don't chase me."
That poor guy.
Getting pitchforks and torches.
That poor guy, man. I mean,
I felt so sorry for him.
I can't watch that scene. I have to look away when he goes off the balcony.
Yeah, he's so sad. He just wanted to go back to the nut home. Yeah, he just wanted to go home to the nut home, didn't he? And yeah, I felt so sorry for him. But that's what I didn't like about the vengeful mobs. They always go off. They're always not fucking thinking straight. They're like a load of bloody idiots. And then you've always got that one ringleader, aka Tommy Doyle in this case, and like riling them all up, and you're just like, you need to stop and think, mate. You know, you're as thick as shit because of I can't talk about it. It winds
up.
I
don't need the blood and gore, right? In any Halloween film, I like the silly kills sometimes. They make me laugh. I mean, I thought the strip light in the neck was a bit much for me. And even a bit overly creative for Michael, in my humble opinion. Because bear in mind, this is the Michael who hasn't been through all the other random sequels, who's blown people's heads up and done all sorts of shit. This is still the guy that we've seen from the first one. So I just think, hang on, I won't look in the drawer for a knife. I'll just take the strip light out and use that instead. He was
creative in the first one. He was creative because he put the Judith Myers thing and then laid the girl on the bed, didn't he?
That's valid,
absolutely.
But the strip light, I did laugh at that, but I liked it when he was stabbing him with the knives, because he'd put one, look at it and think, that needs another one there. I think we'll put one there. Yeah, and I loved that. I loved him just sort of looking at it like he was doing some kind of art project. It was, I did like that,
But I do like, though, you're absolutely right about, I like Tommy in that, actually. I don't dislike him. I just think he's just the ideal person to take that role in the film.
I don't think he's taken an ideal role since Weird Science.
No, what I was going to say, though, was that
right on, Donna.
I do think it is, Myers and Laurie. You're right. But as we've also discussed, it's not just Myers and Laurie, and in these films, he's not coming after just Laurie, is he?
No, he isn't.
Ultimately, what we are being led is this is what it does to a small town when something like this happens, and so all these years later, it's not just a lynch mob. That's the town saying, we are not going to let you do this to us again. And I like that. And then they'll get killed anyway.
Yeah, okay. I like that. However, I wish they would do it properly without it being... I mean, you can have a lynch mob that's a little bit more organised. And what I don't like is the disorganisation of it all. That's what I don't like.
Time to get organised, though? Because it only happened...
I think I don't know. I think there's ways of writing it to make it a little bit more believable than just everyone running around. The coppers couldn't do anything. You've got the copper walking around with his cowboy hat on. I didn't get that. Maybe I've missed something that I didn't get.
I like the cowboy hat cop. I like him. Stop it.
Oh, it was stupid. He couldn't even fucking keep the hospital under control. I mean, I just thought that whole thing where they're just all running down different corridors I just,
it was ridiculous. It was.
And also Tommy happened to be, think that despite the fact that everything he knew about him, he thought, I only need a baseball bat. I'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, that was like when Laurie...
Michael Myers, he gets a pitchfork in the back, he gets the knife in the spine, he's gotten shot, they're beating the living fucking crap out of him, and then they're like, hey, let's give him some breathing room. and stuff like that. People leave, and all of a sudden Michael Myers come back. Instead of tackling him like they did and beat the shit out of him again, they're like, oh, now we're scared, and just he obliterates all of them. It's like, dude, you guys had the right idea, and then you just gave them breathing room to come back. What the? Are you kidding me here?
Yeah, but they do that. Even going back to the original one, every time, like she stabbed him with the knitting needle and then threw it away. She stabbed him with the coat hanger, then threw it away. She stabbed him with the knife, then threw it away. All the way through, every time they kill him, the one thing that stands between him and them is the knife or the pitchfork or they throw it away. And that annoys me as well. Because again, if you want to get rid of that weapon so it's not in play anymore, there are more realistic ways of doing it.
So therefore, when it comes to a town like Haddonfield, I think that is the kind of lynch mob you'd get.
Yeah, they were showing up mob mentality there, right? Like, I mean, that's why they went over after the little guy that looked like the Penguin or whatever. The throat goes off he looks nothing like Michael Myers, but they're all obsessed. He's up there again.
Yeah. No, sorry, I was gonna say another funny thing about Tommy. After the mob starts breaking through, he's kind of like in the front, but in the middle of the mob, and he's like, "Do we have the wrong guy?" And then Laurie's daughter's like, "We've got the wrong guy." He's like, "Oh shit, we got the wrong guy. It's not Michael."
But guys, you know what? It's time to say he was smashed to pieces. The mob did kick the crap out of him, and even though he came back, he was clearly hurt more than we realized, because it's time to go into Halloween Ends. So this is the one. This is the one that we got to talk about. That we're all going to be all over the map on this one. So we're going to try and Paul, I'm going to let you start this. I'm going to let you kick this off. Yeah, go on. Go for it.
Best sequel after the first one.
Yeah.
I can't believe I've ended up there. I just want to make that clear. I love a lot of the sequels for different reasons. This is the first one that, in my humble opinion, is class. It's pure class. And I understand why, I can see your face, Donna. But before you go nuts on me, because I understand why you would, because this is one of the most divisive films ever.
She is going to go nuts on you. Go on. Sorry.
I truthfully I watched it again. I watched it last night before this. And I started it thinking, I hope I get to the end of this and feel the way I did when I watched it last time. And I did. And I'm just blown away by the creativity that went into this film. I understand from a person who wants to watch a film where you see lots of Michael Myers and lots of what he does and blah, 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 blah. But this film took the whole notion of what Michael Myers is and what he's become and what he's going to be, which I think he knows is not much longer. Because, yes, he keeps getting back up again when he gets killed and all that. But I love the fact that he's an old man.
Time is short.
Fingers missing. He's fucked. He is fucked. And even this is where the supernatural thing comes in again for me. Even the power of whatever it is inside him isn't strong enough to make that body do what it used to be able to do. And I thought that Corey was the most brilliant actor, and I thought he was a perfect sort of homage to what's his face in Christine.
Yeah.
And I just think, because I read the plot of this movie and I texted Steve, didn't I? And I went, "Oh, fuck's sake, are you going to believe this?" And he's like, "What?" "I've read a spoiler. I'm going to tell you what it is. And it's just this simple. Myers gets a sidekick." And as soon as I read that, I was like, fuck this franchise and fuck everything. I was so done. And then I went to see it. Well, Steve sent me a text and it just said, "Okay, that was excellent." I'll see what you have to say. And I thought, all right, okay, well, Steve liked it. He hasn't told me anything. Went to see it. And I kind of came out of it and was just like, I can't quite believe what I've just sat through. And in a good way, because I felt like this is the first, they've managed to take everything that is brutal about Halloween, even the original,
Yeah.
and they've turned it into an actual drama, like where the people's stories are just as important as Michael's, and somehow they pulled it off in a way that I couldn't quite believe. There's plenty of other avenues we can go down, obviously, but I'm just trying to give you an overview that I came out of it. I was like, I just kind of went, wow, that is the end. That's it. It ends there. But there was something about this with Corey's trauma, and he was a lovely kid, just like Myers was.
Just like Myers was a lovely kid and a normal kid. Exactly. Kid. Yeah.
And we don't know what as far as we know, he didn't have any trauma. But this kid is a lovely kid who did. He gets the shit kicked out of him all the time. People fucking hate him. And he's getting more and more angry inside and getting more and more. And Myers is the thing that manifests that anger into what he's truly capable of as a human, Donna. And
I actually agree with everything that you've said. I liked the movie as a standalone movie that wasn't a Halloween movie. I thought the story was brilliant. I thought, you've got the serial killer. I mean, I think it was a James Elroy, and he silent something or other. Oh, I'm looking at it now. Silent Terror, and it is literally about how a guy becomes a serial killer, and then he meets another serial killer, and it's really clever. It's really, really good movie, like a good book. And so as a story, I loved it. I thought it was really clever. But to me, what niggled me the most was at the end of Halloween Kills, Michael gets beaten up and everything, right? He's an old boy, gets beaten up and everything. The age to me isn't a problem because he's already taken out all the firemen. He's walked up, the hose pipe and everything, and he's got beaten up. But even then, as an old man, after he's been beaten up, he then takes out all of the people that were beating him up, makes it home, goes upstairs and kills the mum, right? And then obviously just stands at the window. This second movie is only 4 years later. Now, to me, that doesn't make a difference really on his age. But I'm sorry, my Michael Myers, who was strong at the end of Halloween Kills, all of a sudden crawls into a hole and stays there for 4 years, even though the homeless guy outside was saying, oh, people go in there and don't come out. Well, so then I was like, well, why is he still alive? Why is Michael Myers drifting off everywhere to find people to kill when he's got a homeless guy sitting right outside his front door and he's not killed him? So that I absolutely did not like, the fact that most of the movie went by before we even see Michael. But I thought the guy that played Corey was brilliant. I loved the storyline of it. I loved it how he got more and more angry and then wanted to just kill himself. He'd just had enough of it. It was almost, if you can't beat it, join it sort of thing. But I didn't like the way they portrayed Michael. I didn't like the way that there wasn't that Laurie and Michael, even though they had their fight at the end, to me, it wasn't a proper fight. It just, as a standalone film, brilliant. But especially the ending to the Halloween saga, I thought it was absolutely shit.
Oh, God. I'm going to pick up on something you said there.
I think it's fair, though, as a response to what I've just said. I think everything you've said is totally fair.
Because everything you said, I agreed with.
Stop letting her off the hook, dude. It's not fair.
I was only going to say, though, Stevie, just before you start, bruv, I was only going to say, though, that I do get the feeling that Donna and me, we are clearly watching the films in our own zone. And because I think Donna, and I don't mean this as an insult by any way.
Oh, you couldn't insult me.
Oh, good, no, and I wouldn't want to.
You couldn't.
I just think that, you know, I've noticed, let's say in this conversation, there's a lot of, why would you do that when you could do this? And why would you do that? You know, because you're thinking logically as well. You're thinking like a writer. Whereas there's a part of me that somehow still, I don't know how I do it, because I do exactly what you do with everything. It's almost like Halloween's my little thing where I just let things happen a bit sometimes. And I think that, you know, so I kind of just go, oh, right, so that's where we're at now. You know, when I'm watching it sometimes, and then afterwards I'll go back and I go, but why would he have done that? And why would he have done that? but bizarrely, in this, I feel like that's all that's left of him. But go on, Steve. What you?
Well, I'm going to pick up on something Donna said before I give my complete thoughts, and that is, but when you said about the end of when he was strong at the end of Halloween Kills, I actually don't think he was strong at the end of Halloween Kills. I think when he took out they beat the living fuck out of him. You really give him some punishment.
But then he killed them.
No. But that's what I'm going to get to. When he got up and he did that, to me, that was an adrenaline response. It was like, you can be really injured and you can like keep going, and then 20 minutes later is when it suddenly hits you. You're like, oh fuck, I broke my arm. I didn't even realize I broke my arm. And that to me was, he was adrenalized. He took out but then he disappears. The fact that he doesn't come back for ages, to me, says, yeah, he really took some punishment there. Everything's really caught up on him, and his time is short. But I think it's we've said this. I don't want to go down this road because he's my brother, and that's got fuck all to do with it. But I do agree with Paul Leandro. I think it's I've never seen a horror franchise end on such an intelligent note. It says Halloween ends, and it pays that up, and they're paying it up right from the get-go. They're like, we're going to give you an ending here. And it comes down to that, what we were saying earlier, what you think you want and what you want or what you get are sometimes two different things. I understand where you're coming from, Don. You know I understand where you're coming from.
Oh, I do too.
I would have liked Hawkins to have been involved in the killing of him, because I think Hawkins, they set it up that, you know, Hawkins was the one that his partner got killed him. Well, he shot him, didn't he, trying to save him from Michael? And he's, you know, when he's laying there dead, he's going, I'm gonna get my revenge on him, and you know, stuff like that. When the young boy finds him on the floor, and you know, all the way through it, he's making these comments that he's going to get him, and then he just disappears.
And then he turns up with Michael.
Yeah, but he turns up with a fucking fruit basket, and you're like, man, you should have been involved in that. You should have been involved.
But he was involved because here's what I'm going to say. This film is about Haddonfield. It's about Haddonfield. It's about what this fucking guy has done to the town. Like, it's not about any one person, which is why I love the procession scene where they're taking him at the end. It's like, you are gone. You're done. And to me, it's Myers that he's most Myers, because he knows he's going. He knows, and he wants to play his last trick on the town. He is a trickster. He is the boogeyman, as you say. The boogeyman is a trickster in Irish lore, in Celtic lore. He was, the farmers used to put turnips out. That's where jack-o'-lanterns originate from. They were turnips originally. And they would put them out in the farm to keep the boogeyman away from playing pranks. And this is his last prank on Haddonfield. The whole thing with Corey is, it's like, it never ends. You may be done with me, but you're not. The evil never ends. This is going to be haunting this town for Halloween after Halloween after Halloween after Halloween. Just when I'm gone, there'll be another person to take over. And that's what I liked about it. That's what I like. In a lesser sequel, like a Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, for example, they play out just like any other movie in the series. There's nothing different. There's nothing that differentiates them. But then there's going to be some showdown at the end. That, oh, now Freddy's dead. But then they don't even commit to that. They go into the ground, and then you see a last twist of the hand coming out, or whatever. There's no fucking twist in this. Halloween does end, and they take you to that point. They give you that catharsis and that intelligent ending. And Corey, shout out to Rohan Campbell, because we've all said how much, even when you don't like the film, that man fucking killed it. He brought his A game, right?
Brilliant.
Brought his A game, fucking loved it. And I don't know, man. I could say so much, but I don't want to take over the conversation. But
I agree with everything you've said, Steve. Absolutely everything with what you've said, with what Paul said. I just would have liked, to me, like you say, I agree with all that if it was a standalone movie. And I can even sort of say, okay, yeah, a Halloween movie. I would have just liked that battle at the end for them sole characters to have had their moment of getting rid of him.
Well, and to be fair, I think that's what that's why it's such a polarizing film, because I think there's a lot of people that think the same as you, Don. But again, I don't know why.
Only, you know, I mean, even with the procession, Lindsay wasn't even around. And yet she was such a...
She was working at the bar. You see, she's on shift. She ain't gonna fucking leave.
She's got a shift, man.
Everybody that was in there drinking seemed to be passing Michael over their heads afterwards.
But I think
Michael was the party favor at that time.
In a bit of a response, just quickly to what Steve said there, and what Donna's saying as well, is that I do think that, when you're saying about, I'd love it. It would have been amazing if it was a standalone movie and this, that, the other. I agree. I think that the place where I'm at is where Steve kind of just hit on it there when he was talking about, your Friday the 13th and rehash. How can we just keep this fucking thing going? And and also, I don't know if you know this, Steve will, but John Carpenter was asked many years ago, before Halloween 4 was even made.
Yeah.
He had an idea that Myers is gone after Halloween 2. He's done. But he wanted to, what if the town, their collective fear of Michael ended up bringing some kind of
something was feeding on it, which would have been, let's be honest, that would have been a fantastic. I would have loved to have seen that film.
I'm pretty sure there's been an episode in Supernatural.
Exactly, it was an idea that it was poo-pooed, I think, and but ultimately, though, for me, I don't know if David Gordon Green read into that or whatever, but for me, that's what Corey was. Well, so ultimately, Corey was, God, don't ever let this happen in our town ever again. And then you got Corey, and however Myers did it, somehow we've got evil that's been passed from one person to another, and that therefore means that Corey is capable probably of doing the same thing. But Corey, in that weird moment that we've seen only a few times in horror, where The Exorcist, the priest is possessed, but in his last tiny moment of sanity, throws himself out the window to make sure that doesn't happen to anyone else. Yeah. And for me, that's what Corey does when he shoots himself or stabs himself.
He stabs himself in the throat.
But that was out of spite. That was out of spite to Laurie.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree. He did that. Like, you fuck you. I'm gonna make your daughter's gonna think you killed me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But again, that's definitely one way of looking at it, and also could be the way of looking at it. But what I'm suggesting is, if he had that evil in him to that extent that, let's say, our Michael does, Michael wouldn't turn a knife on himself.
That's true. That's a valid point.
I also
right there was
there was a bit of the boil.
was the epitome of the evil right there, because his last act, because I guess he felt himself was dying anyways because he got shot by her. The last act was to turn his daughter, because he says, if I can't have her, boom. He ended up, and again, this is one thing that kind of pissed me off, just like with some of these movies. Instead of leaving the knife in him, what does she do? She grabs it. Why the fuck do you grab the knife from the person that stabbed themselves? Why? But it comes back around. The daughter comes in, and his last act came to fulfillment because she was stupid enough to grab the knife. Daughter walks in, Allison, or granddaughter walks in and goes, what did you do? And then Jamie Lee Curtis is stumbling, you should have left the knife in there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Definitely. There was no need to take the knife out. But,
no.
But I mean, look, I agree that it was definitely him saying that to her. But you know, in all of these kind of things, you can interpret these little things however you like. And my own personal one is that there was still an element of sense in his head that was, if I am left to run fucking riot now, I'm going to just kill and kill and kill and kill. And I've already been shot and I don't like it. It's a bit like, you know what? Yeah, fuck you, like that. But at the same time, it's kind of like,
yeah.
Which
I've never seen Corey.
If the evil was that fucking powerful in him, it would have had self-preservation to stay alive. So
I just don't see the evil being passed over to him, because I just see Michael Myers as a very calm, collected, knows exactly what he's doing, doesn't make a big song and dance about it, just goes in, one stab, kills, moves on, that sort of thing. And to me, Corey was too all over the place, absolutely all over the place. He didn't kill properly. He was messy. He was erratic. He had no, to me, he did not have control over himself.
Yeah, but he was a trainee killer. He was like, any college kid's not going to be perfect out the gate, right? He was training. He was an apprenticeship.
I do like the idea of Michael's only words going, "You're not killing properly."
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, but you think about it, right? So Michael Myers, as a kid, kills his sister. Then he gets locked up for years and years and years. So really, the first kill that he then does, probably apart from a few of the doctors to get out, is God. Who's the first one he kills?
The bloke in the field. The bloke in the field.
Yes, the bloke in the field, right? Yeah. And I think he was just strangled. I don't even think he was stabbed or anything, was it? I think he was just strangled.
Strangled.
Yeah. But to me, even then, he wasn't like erratic.
No. So what we're saying is Corey was the Robin to Michael Myers' Batman, and Corey's like, "Holy carnage, Michael Myers! This is awesome."
I think to that one after midnight. But it's no, I do agree again. Like, look, nobody felt comfortable seeing somebody else wearing a mask.
And it didn't scare me. It didn't, even when he had the mask on, it didn't scare me.
You know what?
Probably because I knew the character underneath it. Where Michael, no one really knows him.
Yeah. No, I agree. But honestly, Halloween Ends to me isn't out there to scare me. And I think that's why I find it so interesting. I think that's why I find it why I've ended up taking this position that I have on this film. Like, I'm a Michael Myers fan, right? And I want to see Michael.
I think that's what I would like to do it. Yeah, that's what's sticking with me. I thought the movie was great, but to me, I know how I like my Michael Myers movies to be, exactly. And I want to be scared, and and without sort of seeing him for most of the movie, I was just watching another sort of killer movie,
What you're
and
saying,
I enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy the movie, but to me, it was not a Halloween movie.
I know what you mean. And what you're saying is that you want to go into a restaurant, right? Have a menu. You want the chef to be John Carpenter, and you want to. I'd like to order the Michael Myers, please.
Yes.
And then say,
and not get Jason or not get Freddy.
can I have it well done, please? It's like the chef recommends you have it this way.
Would you say bloody rare?
And ultimately, it's like, I'm sorry, our chef will only serve Michael Myers in this way. And that is 100% where I have been my whole life.
You've actually described that perfectly.
Somehow,
I actually got to say, that's one of the fucking best explanations. That was. I have to give that a chef's kiss because that was about.
I'm afraid the chef won't serve it to you if you have it done any other way. You know?
No Michael Myers will be served before his time. Like, it's fucking incredible.
And so therefore, I was the same, is what I'm saying, and I'm shocked. I am genuinely shocked by how much I like Halloween. Because that's my Michael up there as much as it's your Michael. I was a bit like, I wasn't ready. I was not ready for that, but I was also ready to come out of it thinking, I really fucking like that.
I really enjoyed that.
I was expecting to at least come out and be like I was with the first, like 2018. That was shit. And then go back and rediscover it again a bit later and go, oh, actually, maybe I was wrong. Whereas I loved it right from the bat. I was just like, holy fuck, what an interesting to do it in a believable way to do it. In the end, like, with, I love the scene where she's got, the gun to her head or to her throat. I can't remember. And you didn't think I was going to kill myself.
You think I really think I killed myself? Bam! Yeah, fuck.
I loved that. I thought that was the perfect way for them two to have their last smash, which should have been longer. Granted, I think when I first saw the poster for it, I thought, oh, this is going to be like 90 minutes of Myers and Laurie just fighting, and it's going to be nuts, and it's going to be fun. And I got Michael Myers, the older years, and instead,
what you want is not always the same as what you get, and you liked what you got, and I liked what I got, and let's talk about some of the callbacks. Let's talk about some of the callbacks for a second, because they were fucking close. When Myers stabs the dental assistant or the nurse assistant, and kills her just like he killed Bob in the first one, up on the wall. Bam! And then he even does the
Right? But then there's also, what about the hospital? Obviously, was that a sort of head nod to the Halloween 2?
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I felt a little bit like that. But when Corey, they take Corey out, and he goes down, and then he sits up, exactly like Myers outside the closet in. He does the boom. You see it from a side angle. One that I actually missed. That I saw when I was watching the other night. I'm like, how the fuck did I miss that before? And you guys might have caught it. I didn't catch it the first time. When he's fighting with Laurie, when Myers is fighting with Laurie in the kitchen, and he goes over and he grabs a fucking knitting needle and looks at it.
I saw that.
It's like, remember when you stabbed me with a neck with a fucking knitting needle? Let's see how you like it, right? Boom. And then another one where Laurie looks out the window and Corey's standing by the by the hedgerow there, like
brilliant.
Oh,
it's brilliant. A lot of nods.
Brilliant.
Look, 2 fucking words: meat grinder. Like, if you're gonna fucking kill somebody that is impossible to kill, put them in a fucking meat grinder. That is how you do it. And they did it.
And Donna, that's what's going to be served on the menu: Michael Burger.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay. While we're on the subject of food, and Paul took us there with his chef analogy. I got to tell you this: as much as I disagree with Donna on this film about a lot of things, she came out with one of the best fucking things I've ever heard. Like, I was in Chicago when we first had this discussion, and we were talking like I was out in a thing, and you said to me, you were telling me what you didn't like, and then she goes, "But you know what the most thing that killed me? He's in that sewer. How the fuck's he been eating all those years? What has he been getting? Meals on Wheels? I fucking died, man. I was on the floor. That was one of the...
But Donna, you are fucking right, because I don't know how many times, like, we're going back 20 years, maybe, right? How many times did me and Steve have this conversation where it's like, 10 years later, we always go, what the fuck's he been doing for those 10 years? Has he just been like walking about like with a mask on, or just hiding somewhere? At least this movie had the balls to go, oh, he was in a sewer.
And also as well, he's in the sewer, so now he's killed loads of people and he hasn't got blood on his overalls, but he's now been living in the sewer and he still hasn't got dirt on him.
He hasn't got shit on his overalls.
He has spray and wash.
They're all, it's like his suit had been ironed and pressed, and yes.
Well,
God knows about his personal hygiene.
I know. Can you imagine how much he would have smelled?
I'm pretty sure that man, in the original franchise, I'm guessing that he hasn't had a bath or a shower like ever.
Well, in the original film, he would have escaped the nut home, so he probably would have had a shower before he escaped. So he's only a couple of days in on the body odor, isn't he? By Halloween ends, fuck me, he wouldn't have to kill anyone with a knife. His bleeding stench would have knocked people out, I reckon.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Well, Halloween both ends.
He washed with Irish Spring.
You washed with Irish Spring? What the fuck?
It's as fresh as an Irish Spring.
You're going back. You know what you're doing? You're doing your voice from when we did the show about Sinners, when you were doing the Irish vampires. That's what you're doing now. guys, believe it or not, we're actually coming up on 2 hours and 20 minutes. This has been, I know, it has been an absolute fucking blast. I've enjoyed this every minute. Final, let's go around the table. Final thoughts. Anything final you want to bring to the table there, Paulie?
That's it. No, what I think is that the first Halloween will always be my favorite film of all time. Hated this whole fucking thing when it first came around, but I love it now. But I still don't love it anywhere near as much as I do the original film, because nothing will ever top that. But in terms of, you guys must get this. Sometimes you're just there and you think, just fancy watching a bit of Myers, and sometimes your mind goes to Halloween 5, or anything, just because you haven't seen it for so long. You just think, oh, go on then. But I know that in the hierarchy of movies that I want to watch, like really that are fucking great, it will always be Halloween 1, 2, 2018, Kills, and Ends are the ones that are always at the front of the queue. All the rest of them are behind, and I'll go to them first. And I didn't think I'd feel that way, and I'm really glad I do. So nice. There you go.
Final thoughts, Don?
Well, I actually always have had a bit of a soft spot for H2O. It's probably a guilty. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I do enjoy it. Although me and Steve have had a big old chat about how we would have rewritten that ending. But as much as I can pick fault with all of the Halloween movies, the first one, I probably actually can't pick a lot of fault with it. It was just simple. It was simple and just it flowed, and I loved it. It was just such a good movie. And Michael can't do no wrong. As much as what I can probably slag off everything going on around him himself can do no wrong. And that's why I find it hard to believe that he could ever be weak.
Except for his lack of hygiene, correct?
Exactly,
he's clearly showering somewhere.
He's not really strong. He just smells strong.
Imagine what his socks smell like.
Do you not think that there might be a school of thought that maybe he was just really pissed off with the fact that Judith Myers only got about 30 seconds in bed?
Valid point.
That's just more than that.
Fuck. Jay, what about you, mate?
Well, for me, ending on this one, I saw last night Halloween Kills extended cut, pun included, which was beautiful. And I'm gonna leave it on this. I know I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people. I think, and Don, I agree with you. Halloween Ends standalone with Corey being the character and what have you, probably best on that one. The ending of Halloween Ends, which was the perfect ending and perfectly apropos, title, Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
I think they could have taken the mob scene of Halloween Kills when they were beating the living fucking crap out of him, and then just move on to them picking him up and bringing him like Frankenstein creation in Bride of Frankenstein to the meat grinder. Bam.
Yeah.
I'll leave it with
that. My final thought on this is that I think Halloween Ends, in fact, the entire David Gordon Green trilogy was a wonderful experiment. I'm glad that they did it. We know that there's going to be more Michael Myers. We know that there'll be more Halloweens because there's no way that the ACADs are going to let that franchise die. But so for the fact that they're telling their story, the fact that they had the balls to actually end it in a way that no one could pick up that slack. Yeah. It's going to be a reboot or whatever the hell, like going to be like what Rob Zombie did or something like that. But I like the fact that they did it. And as far as the Halloween series goes, Donna just said it as well. We slag off this, we slag off that. But at the end of the day, I think I would rather take a subpar Halloween movie and have some fun with that over some of these franchises that I just don't get. That some of them are just like, what the hell are you doing with this, right? So but
like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, that was a franchise that was never meant to be a franchise, right? So
that was I can't believe someone wrote that and someone produced it.
Guys,
I mean, I went to the cinema to see that with Steve in Canada, didn't we? Went to see that together, and I remember at the time thinking it was good, but unfortunately, you go back and you look at all the 90s kind of horrors, and you talk about formulaic. It's extreme, and I think that's probably why I feel so kind of strongly about Ends, because it's the most non-formulaic franchise movie I've ever seen. So, but I feel like we could literally just all keep having last words here, couldn't we?
It took a chance.
Yeah.
And I think, like Halloween 3, although I know we're going to have this as a discussion for another time, but regardless where you sit on Halloween 3, it has been very reappraised over the years. It's got a very loyal following now, and I have a funny feeling that Halloween Ends another 5-10 years from now. This is going to undergo a major reappraisal of this film, and there are going to be people in the critics section and in the audience section who say, you know what, I got that wrong. This is actually a lot better than I gave it credit for. But listen, guys.
I was going to say, would you say that Season of the Witch has a real cult following?
I hate that joke. I hate that joke. Never make a joke like that again, ever. All right, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this with like four of us. I'd love it if you and Donna and Paul would consider coming on again, and we'll do another conversation about something else. Love to have you back. But
absolutely,
yeah. Jay, you want to say what you like to say to our iScreemers?
Well, it was an absolute pleasure having Donna and Paul, your brother, on. It really was. This was a fucking awesome discussion. I loved it. I really did. And for all of our iScreemers out there, this is good stuff. And this is why we do it, for you. And as we always say, keep screaming.
This is Limes. This has been iScreemZ Podcast. Peace out.